Hello, everybody. Tim here with a spoiler review this time, and I'm joined by Margaret. Hello, Margaret.
Hi.
Hi. She's so excited to be here. Today we're talking about Justice League. We just saw the movie. This was my second time seeing it. Margaret's first time. Tell me what you thought about it, Maggie.
I mean, the more I think about it, I think the more that I like it, actually.
Interesting, because you seemed to be enjoying it while we were watching it.
Right, yeah, I was.
What is your favorite thing about this movie? You got anything for a movie? You just said the more I think about it, the more I like it. What's your favorite thing?
I'm trying to decide.
So
okay, I liked when Clark showed up at the end to help fight Steppenwolf.
Yeah, this is full spoilers.
And he was completely corny about it.
Yeah, it was great.
Completely corny about it.
Absolutely.
And yeah, I liked Barry, except for the way he ran.
Yeah, he ran like a weirdo, but that's okay.
He flails his arms really weird. I liked when Clark went all freak out when they first brought him back to life and he was gonna fuck it. Oh, the part where Barry is running behind him and he just sees Clark watch him as he runs and Barry's like, what the fuck? It was great.
So you seem to have very strong feelings about Clark Kent.
Except for his fucking fake lips.
So much violence you have. Wow. I only cursed once in my Justice League review, and you've already got it down to
okay,
4 times.
Seriously, though, Henry Cavill's CGI lip is really bad. It's really noticeable.
All right, so I asked you for things you liked, and so far we've got Clark Kent is great, but his lip is terrible.
I said Barry is good.
And Barry's good. So my biggest thing, which is what I said in my non-spoiler review, is that I think just all of the characters were done really well. Of the Justice League, at least.
Yeah.
Bruce, I think Ben Affleck.
He was really good.
I still like Christian Bale more just because I have a more personal connection to those movies
were better,
but
which makes it easier to like
I
him.
Still love Ben Affleck as Batman.
Yeah,
I think that he's the closest to the Batman in the comic books that we've ever seen in films.
And old and okay with being that way.
Yeah, he's great, and Gal Gadot is obviously wonderful as Wonder Woman.
I wish she would stop bringing up Steve Trevor every 5 minutes, but that's fine.
Well, this is the first movie we've seen her in.
I know, but it was like
Steve.
They were shoving it down our throats. Remember that one movie that she was in where there was Steve Trevor and he died for her? Do you remember that?
I do remember that.
That's kind of how it felt.
Really? I didn't feel that way. I felt like it was a good emotional anchor for her, and it was a good way for her, because she brought it up a couple times, and then Bruce just threw it back in her face just by saying would Steve Trevor tell you that? And then whatever he says, you went and hid away, so don't tell me about letting things go or whatever. I thought that was actually really, really great. And then I've heard a lot of people complain about Ray Fisher as Cyborg. I thought that he was good.
I honestly know nothing about Cyborg.
I don't know a lot either, yeah.
So I don't really know what to think. He seemed very robotic, the way he talked and the way he acted. We don't really know anything about his story except for his mom died and his dad's kind of a bitch.
Yeah. My favorite moment with him is when him and Barry are digging out Clark's casket, and they're talking, and Barry says, or he's Cyborg asks him so you were struck by lightning or whatever. And he's like, well, that was the that's the short version. What about you? Oh, explosion. Oh, so were the accidents. And Cyborg's like, yeah, I guess so. And then it all comes around, because for the majority of the movie, he's not happy about the fact that he's alive.
Right.
He's not happy with the fact that his dad turned him into this thing. And then he even calls his dad a monster at one point.
Yeah. In the beginning.
And then at the end, when Clark and him are
pulling,
they're pulling apart the mother boxes, and he says, "It's not gonna kill me, is it? Because I really like being alive." And he looks at him and says, "So do I." It was a nice full circle thing for Cyborg.
Yeah, by the end he was
he's
laughing about
chilling,
how he can't feel his feet, and
it was good. I enjoyed his arc overall. Same thing with Aquaman. He didn't have much of an arc.
He was honestly very much there just to be there. I felt like he really didn't contribute. Well, other than like beating things up, I feel like he was by far like the weakest link. Like, sure, I didn't know anything about Cyborg, but like he was integral to separating those mother boxes and finding them and like knowing about them and stuff. And obviously he had one, so that was kind of important.
Sure.
Aquaman just sort of like pouted the whole time and just like was like, I don't need to be here. I'm cooler than everyone else.
I think that he had a good comedic edge to him that was different than what Barry Allen was doing. And I think that just like I agree. I think that he was good in. I think Jason Momoa was good in the movie, and it makes me want to see the Aquaman movie.
Yeah.
Because I think that the one underwater sequence was really cool. I just would have liked to see more.
During the Aquaman movie, the entire time, are they gonna have to wait for that redheaded lady to like make it air around them for them to talk? Like, know. I was thinking about that during the underwater scene. I'm like, how is this gonna go?
I did think about that too. Let's get into those are like the heroes, the main heroes, obviously in the film, and I want to get into some of the other minor characters before we jump into the villain. But J.K. Simmons pops up in like 2 scenes. Cute. He's good. Like J.K. Simmons is good in everything.
Yeah.
Oscar winning J.K. Simmons for the best film of 2014. Whiplash. Anyway, but J.K. Simmons, he's good as Gordon. I think that Gary Oldman is going to be my quintessential Gordon for quite some time. But I think that, he was good in the couple scenes that he was in. I really do hope there's a Batman movie. And I know before we started recording, we were talking about this, and you were like, I don't know if we need a Batman movie. I just want to see the Batman, specifically Ben Affleck's Batman and J.K. Simmons as Gordon go back and forth a little bit, because you can tell through their dialogue in this movie they have some history.
Yes,
and I want to see either that history explored or just their relationship continue.
Yeah.
Either way. And then
Alfred and his saltiness about Bruce not having babies.
Yeah, that's true. That carries over from BVS. I really like Jeremy Irons as Alfred. He's again, I feel bad for keep going back to Christopher Nolan, but Michael Caine is a great Alfred. Right. I think that Jeremy Irons gives him a run for his money. He's good as Alfred.
He's just different. But I think it fits the universe, the DCEU that's been created.
Yeah, I think that he's great. And then I said in my other review, Diane Lane is here again as Mama Kent. She's fine. She's in like 3 scenes, and I understand why she had to be there, because I know that everybody would be like, if she wasn't in the movie and Clark came back and you really think that he would come back and not talk to his mom? And it's just like, okay, yeah. So I get why she was there. I didn't feel like she needed to be, but and then on the other side of the coin, I have been very vocal about how much I don't like Amy Adams in these movies.
I really don't.
And I thought this was the best version of her as possible. And maybe that's because...
I don't know.
Maybe that's... Go ahead.
I barely made it through Man of Steel.
Yeah,
so I can't really talk about that, but in BVS she pissed me off.
Well, she was bad. She's just bad in the movie, too. And I love Amy Adams. I love Amy Adams.
I thought she was fine. I liked the role that Lois Lane played, where she was the big gun or whatever.
Yeah, that was cool. I dug that, and it was and it might just be because she wasn't in a lot of the movie, but she did not piss me off in this movie. I think
she served her purpose.
Yeah, like she made me upset in the other movies.
That's because she didn't need to be there.
No, she didn't need to be there, and I thought she was for the part that she had to play in this one, I thought she was fine. Or that it was the best that she could have done with that character.
Yeah.
For this set of movie, or for this specific movie. Mm-hmm. And then we get into Steppenwolf a little bit. He's kind of a disposable.
He's very disposable. I liked the big scene when they were talking about his backstory, where everyone was fighting, because I thought that was really cool.
I enjoyed him on Themyscira. Fighting the Amazonians. Yeah. I thought that scene
was really good.
It was really intense. The action was good. They kind of Snyder and Whedon, which we can get into that too later, but they kind of replicated a little bit of what Patty Jenkins was doing in Wonder Woman with the action in that scene. I thought that scene was great.
Yeah, that's definitely his best scene, Steppenwolf's.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that most of the time, I didn't really think about this the first time, but the second time watching it now, I noticed that, especially in the final fight,
he doesn't do anything.
He doesn't really do anything. He kind of just
stands around.
Well, and I also noticed that he'll throw Aquaman and then he'll throw Wonder Woman and they fall down. And then they get like 10 hits in on him, and like he just like keeps hitting up against a wall and hitting this, and like he just gets his ass whooped, but just like doesn't die or get weak or anything, which might just be the character. I don't know a lot about Steppenwolf. Until Clark starts beating him up, and he's just kind of, he doesn't really do anything other than,
no, he's literally just the plot to get them to come together.
Yeah, and like the fight with him and Aquaman and I don't remember the character's name, Amber Heard, the other Atlantean. Yeah,
that was really lame compared to
their fight was a tad lame. I liked the way that it looked, like the underwater part of it. I just thought like the fight itself was kind of lame because, you know, like he just didn't really do it for me.
He looked like the Beast from Beauty and the Beast. Just throwing that out there.
I mean, maybe I have to see it again and analyze it.
No, it's 100% true.
Okay, so your favorite thing about the post-credit scene?
Which one?
Well, so we got our first post-credit scene, which is Superman
and Barry running,
so which is great.
I thought it was very cute. My issue is, once again, Henry Cavill's lip and how it's very clearly fake.
So for people who don't know about this,
his nose is moving.
So for people
but his lip beneath his nose is not moving.
For people who don't know about this, which I'm sure if you're listening you do know, but Henry Cavill like had to come back for the reshoots for this movie, but he was at the same time shooting Mission Impossible 6, and in that movie he's contracted to have this big bushy mustache, and so they wouldn't let him shave the mustache. They CGI'd the mustache off in these certain scenes, and if you know about that going into the movie, it's very noticeable. I have a feeling that if you didn't know about it, you wouldn't really notice all that much.
But I was looking for it.
But yeah, well, I also made the mistake of telling you, like, it's a little bit noticeable. So, and then we've got our second post-credit scene, which is a little tasty nugget. We get some Deathstroke.
Yes.
Going and visiting Lex Luthor, who's escaped from prison.
Surprise.
He's on a yacht, and they're chatting about creating their own little villains league.
A league of their own.
Yeah.
Specifically.
Yeah, and I am all about this. Yeah, you know, most people like hated Lex Luthor in BVS. I thought he was fine.
Yeah,
specifically Jesse Eisenberg's performance. I think that he was.
I'm excited for what he's gonna bring next.
I really am. Like,
I want to see a Man of Steel 2 where he's like doing stuff.
Where he's the villain.
Yeah.
I could dig that. Like, if he was the villain in a Man of Steel 2 and Deathstroke went to be the villain in a Batman movie.
Yeah. Like, and then they team up again.
Batman and Superman?
Well, and
we get a BVS too?
Like, no. You want
a Batman v Superman 2?
Stop.
Oh, okay.
I give up.
Batman v Superman 2, Dawn of Injustice.
No.
Ooh, shit.
Yeah.
Hot takes.
Even just in that little scene, I just thought he was a lot better and more interesting. But I also, between now and when I saw BVS, I've learned a lot more about Lex Luthor, so that might be why I just appreciate him more now.
So, where does this rank for you in the DCEU films? No, we've got Man of Steel, we've got BVS, we've got Suicide Squad, we've got Wonder Woman, and we've got Justice League.
So, I feel like this happened almost immediately after BVS, because everyone, like, all those banners were hanging still with, like, the black S, the black and white S. No, just let me finish.
Okay.
And in Suicide Squad, they're handing up papers saying, you know, Superman is dead or whatever. So does that weird, like, end of the earth Suicide Squad thing happen at the same time this Justice League stuff is happening, or like what happens first?
No, I think Suicide Squad's first, from the way,
even though, like, because Batman's clearly has been hunting parademons for a while, because he knew they wanted fear because he stuck that guy over the building.
Yeah.
So he's been hunting them for a while.
I don't remember if I'm just making this up in my head or not, but I think at some point Lois says
how long
it's been like 6 months. That it's been like that it took her a while to get back to the Daily Planet and everything, and that it's been like, that's the way that I was looking at it. And Suicide Squad, I think is like literally directly after BVS. Like the funeral happens, then like a week later, this is going on. Gotcha. Like because
I just like to pretend that movie didn't happen.
Well, me too. But I'm answering your question. Yeah. So I think that Suicide Squad happens right after BVS, and then this is like maybe 6 months to a year after BVS. But again, you dodged my question. Where does this rank? In the overall DCEU? I'm going to give you my ranking, and I'm going to tell you're going to agree or disagree. Okay. We've got Wonder Woman as number 1. Yep. Then we've got this movie. Yep. Then we've got Man of Steel. Yep. BVS. Suicide Squad.
That's exactly what I would do, even though I really haven't seen Man of Steel all the way through.
Your favorite character is Superman. Yet
he is only recently developed as my favorite character.
Sure. You just like Henry Cavill.
Well, yeah, but
you can't make it through his movie, and you want to see.
But I am really deep in Smallville right now, so that really has an effect on.
That's true. That could have the effect. That's very, very true. So yeah, I think another thing I mentioned in my other review is that I wish this movie was longer.
I disagree.
I wish that there was more development. I wish that this movie was about 2.5 hours long, and I think that's a compliment because we walked out of BVS going, that was too long and it was a mess, and the only good parts were, Batman and Wonder Woman. Everything else was just kind of meh, and Superman got shafted out of his own sequel and like this and that. We had so many complaints, but specifically like this movie was so long and it was a disaster. Whereas I'm walking out of Justice League saying, I wanted more. I want more of this movie. Like, I feel like that's a compliment.
I mean, yeah, no, I don't disagree. Like, yeah, that's a compliment. But, like, just as somebody who really struggles with movies that are over 2 hours. Yeah. I thought this was fine. But I think it's partly to, like, I can push aside the fact that I don't know anything about Cyborg. I can push aside the fact I don't know anything about Aquaman because I know that's coming.
Well, do you wish that you would have got those movies first?
Oh, yes. 100%. I wish they would have came first.
Yeah, okay.
Because that would have made everything much more, like, real. And because honestly, I don't care if Aquaman died at that point. Like, I would not have cared at all. Yeah. And, like, I feel like it would have made them coming together that much sweeter if we had known each character.
Them. Yeah, sure. But and that's why, and I'm trying as hard as I can not to compare this movie to the first Avengers, but you're right, it's impossible. Looking at that movie, like, we got origins for all those characters except for Hawkeye
and Black Widow.
Well, Black Widow was in Iron Man 2.
Yeah, but it's not like we're never gonna get her origin.
Well, we did a little bit in Age of Ultron,
that doesn't count.
I mean, it's canon. It counts. So, anyway. But, we went into that Avengers movie having 2 Iron Man movies, a Hulk movie, a Thor movie, and a Captain America movie. Mm-hmm. And so we were, like, ready and prepared for that to happen.
Right. And then there was that like, stupid moment in this movie where, like, they got angry at each other. And
where Bruce and Diana got angry.
And they all were, like... They were having, like, their falling apart moment so that they could have their coming together moment. And I thought that was really, like,
forced.
Pushed. Yeah, that was really, really forced. Like, I didn't believe that for a second. Like, it was clearly, like, they were just trying to replicate a formula.
Yeah, and I mean, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that, I mean, as long as it's not, like, as obvious as it was here, but, I think this is a step in the right direction.
Oh, yeah, no, I agree.
I think that Wonder Woman, obviously, like, I think Wonder Woman's a really, really good movie. I don't think it's, like,
I'm not
fucking 5 out of 5 movie, like a lot of people were saying. I think it's really great. Like, I love it. And then I think it falls apart in the third act. Yeah. But it's still a really good movie. I think that this is more or less consistent. I think it's more consistent. It's not, there's no one part in this movie where I'm like, oh my god, that's my favorite. That thing is, there's like BVS, like, that warehouse scene with Batman. Yeah. I love that scene. Man of Steel, there's scenes in there, like the fight with Zod and the fight with, not that end fight, but the fight where they, like, break up the IHOP and everything. Like, I love that scene. Wonder Woman, there's scenes that I absolutely love, like the No Man's Land scene. There's no one scene in this movie that I'm like, that I'm going to fast forward to on the Blu-ray right away to watch. Yeah. But it is more consistent as a whole, as in, like, from beginning to middle to end.
And really, there's nothing that extremely sticks out to me as being bad, except for Steppenwolf.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I just wish there was that moment in this movie that, like, I could be like, oh, I'm gonna fast forward.
Well, honestly, I can think of scenes where I would do that.
Really? Like what?
Like when Steppenwolf fights the Amazons, and then when they bring Clark back and they're all fighting.
Yeah, I guess. I think I might be a little damaged, though, because I'm thinking of Thor Ragnarok, too.
Right.
Which is only 2 weeks old now at this point, but the fight between Thor and Hulk in that movie, or the Another Day, Another Dog. There's moments like that in Thor that, like, I'm going to be constantly quoting, and other than the reused line from Superman, that's the... Tell me, do you bleed? Which absolutely made me so happy that they threw that in there. And then the truth and justice thing at the end, like towards the end with Superman, there's no like moments like that. And again, I might sound like I'm shitting on the movie a little bit. I really liked the movie. I gave it a 4 out of 5. So I really liked it. And I kind of gave it the 4 out. I wanted to give it a 3.5, but I upped it up a little bit because I'm usually pretty hard on.
I upped it after I watched that end credit scene.
You upped it to a 4?
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. So.
But where's Oliver?
Yeah, where's Oliver?
Oliver?
Where's Hal Jordan? I want my Green Lantern. I want that Green Lantern moment was great.
It was.
So again, there's a lot to love here. There's also quite a few things that are not necessarily overly bad, just
they could have been better.
Could have been better. So overall, though, this is a step in the right direction. I'm excited.
It makes me excited for the next thing.
They need to greenlight Justice League 2 now because it was originally on the docket.
And Ben needs to stop playing with our emotions.
He's not going to stick around. I really don't think he is going to.
Then what's the point?
I don't know. I think that obviously the dream would be that Ben Affleck would stay around as Batman. If he doesn't stay around as Batman, what I would love for it to happen is have this Matt Reeves Batman movie happen. Give it to somebody else. I'm fine with that. That's totally okay. Yeah. But he needs to at least do that.
Yeah.
He can't just not show up in the next movie.
Yeah.
That would make me make me upset. But anyway, guys, yeah. That's kind of our rambling about Justice League.
Yep.
Talking spoilers, full in depth. Yep. Justice League, yeah. So now we have to wait who knows how long for another DCU movie, but I'm excited.
Knowing them, they'll probably rush Aquaman.
Well, Aquaman's already in production. I honestly just really want them not to rush it, but to greenlight it and say, okay, we're gonna do Justice League 2.
But don't you want the Flash movie before that?
No, I don't need it. No. I honestly, now I don't. Mm. I would have liked. That's my complaint. That's what I'm saying. I wish this movie was longer. We would have gotten more of that. But I think this is enough of a base that we could do a sequel, and I'd be okay. Like I'd be fine. I that's what I want. I mean, again, I'm excited for an Aquaman movie, for a Flash movie, for a Batman movie, whatever. I don't need Justice League 2 to be the next movie. I just need them to say, yeah, we're going to do it.
Gotcha.
We're going to do it. And I think that it's unfortunate because this movie's rocking like a 36% right now on Rotten Tomatoes, serious? Which is just fucking criminal.
Yeah, that's not true.
That's criminal.
Ignore that.
I said it on Facebook yesterday. As soon as I stopped, the movie ended. I posted on Facebook that this movie does not deserve to have a 40% on Rotten Tomatoes. It was at a 40 when I looked last night, and I know it's down to like a 36 now. So that's just absolutely criminal. So I recommend you guys go and check it out. Let me know in the comments below if you guys liked the movie, what you thought of it. And Maggie, where can the cats find you?
Nowhere. I don't want you to know my identity.
Okay, Maggie doesn't want you to know about her, but you can find me on Twitter. Tim Loves Movies. Right here, yeah. Hit that like button, hit subscribe. Helps me out a great deal. And if you like this video, let us know because we will talk more spoilers about other movies. I know I was dancing with the idea of doing Thor spoilers, but it's too far gone. It's too far gone. But I can guarantee you that after Star Wars comes out, me and Maggie will do a full in-depth, wondrous analysis of that movie. So that'll be that's the next big one, I think. That's the next big one. Yeah, I'm excited. So anyway, guys, thanks as always for listening, and until next time, have a good one.